have you completed your coaching staff yet?
I think so. I mean, we could possibly add some more. We still possibly could get a D-line assistant, but we're kind of playing it slow, and we're good with where we're at right now, but we'll see as these, we have the minority internships that come, things like that, so it's not always fun.
Do you have titles for Staley, for Nick?
I mean, Nick's the defensive coordinator.
Mick.
Oh, Mick?
Yeah.
I don't know if we've given him an exact title yet. Yeah, not sure.
Do you take a lot of pride in the titles, do you?
Not as much as you guys. No, it's I mean, the roles are very similar to what I had with Clay and Clint last year. Clay's kind of who had the main role of that last year, and he'll do that same thing and bring in a Mick once we lost Clint. That's where he's going to help.
Kyle, how do you envision the duties being divvied up between Mick and Brandon?
I mean, Nick's going to call the plays, so I mean, that's the main job of the defensive coordinator is calling the defense. And Nick will be a huge part of game planning and doing everything on that side of the ball and helping me out in other areas also.
And what do you envision for Brandon?
That's really what I'm saying. I mean, Brandon will be a big part of the game plans. I'm implementing a lot of our defense here in the offseason and during the week each week, preparing for teams. And it's been a big part of free agency already, helping us through the draft, and be a huge asset to our whole coaching staff.
Will there be will you give him any assignments to help the offensive staff?
Not anything in particular. I mean, once we start practice, going through OTAs, just having another guy's expertise who knows a lot of ball. He's ran a number of schemes and have a part of ours.
Has he already been pretty impactful in his input?
Yeah, Brandon's got a lot of knowledge. I mean, and being a coordinator in this league and then also being a head coach here for the last few years, knows a lot of the personnel. He's been very involved in draft stuff throughout with his team and stuff, so it's always nice to have a guy with his expertise on board to help us out.
Kyle, what do the Packers get in Jeff?
What's that?
What do the Packers get in Jeff Hadley?
They're getting a hell of a coach. I mean, I loved working with Half. We hated losing him when he did go back to college, but I'm glad he's back in the NFL. He's a great person, a great guy, and he's been doing it good for a long time.
What's the gist of that defense? What do you like about it? The guy system this year?
We'll see what exactly he does run with Green Bay, but I mean, if it's similar to ours, it's based out of a 4-down front, which I know Green Bay's been 3-4 for a long time now, so I'm not exactly sure what Jeff's going to do at this level, but that would be the main difference if it's like ours.
What do you think of Matt? He runs your offense. Now he's running your defense.
I don't really see it like that. I mean, offenses change each year. I thought his offense looked different this year, just with a different quarterback and things like that, and we're yet to know about the defense, so it'll be a surprise week one.
Speak for your defense. Do you think of Malik Collins at the back position?
We were pumped to get Malik. I mean, just what he's done here these last few years. We love how much football he's played, how healthy he's stayed. We really wanted to add some guys we felt had some good health history, and Malik's done a hell of a job at that.
Kyle, we haven't talked to you since Eric Armstead left. Just what was that process like, and what was it like losing a guy like Eric?
It was real tough. I mean, we've been with Eric since we've been here, and I know he was here a couple years before us, so it wasn't something we really wanted to happen. It's one of the tough things when trying to keep the team together and just where it goes with the salary cap and stuff, but he got in a good spot. Real happy for him where it ended up, but I hated to see him go.
The guys that you picked up that are going to play in the middle, what did you see from them previously that drew you to wanting to get for them?
I mean, mainly the guys that were available. We competed hard for to get them. Malik, when he came available for that 7th-round pick, which we thought was huge. Tour just getting on the edge, Floyd on the edge, all the size in the middle. We felt real good about the group. We had a bunch of one-year guys, and we knew we had to add a number of other ones.
There's been a lot of talk about Leonard Floyd's motor. Is that something that really jumps out to you?
Yeah, he goes all day. We played against him too much. I've never liked playing against him. He's always been such a good player. It was real cool having Brandon on our staff because he got to coach him when he was in LA, so just hearing the type of practice player he is and stuff. He goes all day. He loves playing football, loves being out there, and pumped to have him on our team.
Is it a priority for you after maybe a few questions towards the end of the season to get a guy? Was that like a priority?
No, we didn't really feel like we had effort issues. We had a few bad plays. I think that got really pumped up on social media, which we don't ever want to have bad plays, but effort was never an issue with our team.
Kyle, most people don't know Nick Sorensen, and he hasn't been forever. Does Hurricane initially distinguish himself and impress you and show you he was ready for the role last night?
Well, he's worked with a lot of people before us that I knew. You know, him being in Seattle, being in Jacksonville, his playing career, just crossed paths a number of ways. Having him in our building these last couple of years, you know, really getting to work with D'Amico a lot in his first year and working a ton with Steve last year, really prepared him for this. You know, he's been around the scheme. He's gone through it in these 2 seasons, and just love where he's at from a football mind. Our players love him. He's been talking to our team every Thursday doing the ball meeting, so you know, our players are used to him, and it's a great opportunity for him, and we're happy to put him in this position.
What did you hear from him that made you say that's the guy?
I've been with him for the last 2 years mainly. When you're with someone, it's not like really in an interview that changes it. It's being with someone in the building every day. I thought he was close last year to being ready, and I think he's even more ready now.
Did you set out to have someone, when you set out to do this process, to have someone like Staley, like we'd like to have someone who's got some experience as a coordinator who can be in a role, or did that kind of just evolve naturally?
I mean, it kind of just evolved naturally. I mean, I was just pumped to be able to have the chance to get Brandon. I know we looked into him for the coordinator role, but I was really wanting to stay in-house and keep it kind of with what we had done similar in the past with our scheme, and being able to add Brandon up and get him on board, it was huge.
Did you, I was going to say, when you talked to Brandon, did you basically say, we already got our coordinator, but I want to find a role for you?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Kyle, you made lots of changes to your defense this offseason. It seemed like you wanted to keep your offense as much continuity as possible. Was that the plan going into the offseason?
No, we just didn't have free agents like we did on defense, so there's more issues there. So we know we had to replace a number of those guys, especially all the guys we had on 1-year deals. You know, we traded for 2 defensive ends during the season, which were our number 2 and number 3 rushers, so that was a big part. And we had to go out and get some more guys, so that was the main thing.
How much did you see from Bobby Slowick, what he was able to do with CJ Stroud? Just what do you think of Stroud?
I thought Bobby did an unbelievable job. He was fun to watch. It's always when you have guys that you work with, it's fun to get the film every Monday and watch what they're doing around the league. And Bobby was just fun to watch with anyone. He's got a hell of a quarterback there, and did a really good job.
Hey Kyle, just talking to Sean a little bit about how you hired Bob Stryker to help him in some game management aspects of timeout music. So I wanted to kind of ask you something similar. When you review yourself from this season and going over Super Bowl with your timeout, so this is the first time you've ever seen a playoff this time of the year. Have you thought about doing anything differently in terms of game management or analytics, or what are you thinking about how that went now? Are you making any changes once you review that situation?
You review every situation that you're in. Each one that you're in is a new one. So you prepare for all those, but when you're in a situation next time, it won't be like the last time. It's always different. There's variables of who's on the field, what the score is, how the game's gone. So that's something you think about every week, and you never really stop talking about it even through games. And we have a big department with Brian Hampton and stuff who does all our analytics. So we've been pretty good in that area for a while, I think.
Kyle, this offseason, is there a certain level of calm to not be dealing with quarterback questions, quarterback rehab, and any of that? Just kind of know you're settled in that position.
Yeah, I'm just pumped that Brock gets an offseason. I mean, his first year he didn't get much of one just because he was the 3rd quarterback. Last year was all about, he couldn't really throw with us till training camp, and this year he just got married. He's fully healthy. He's going to come back here in a couple of weeks and we'll get going. And I'm just pumped to be able to go through the film with him and to be on the field with him, which he hasn't had a chance to do yet in his career.
What is the next step? Daniel's going into his 3rd season as a head coach. You had a lot of success in your 3rd year, going to the Super Bowl. What's the key install to the offense, or just general things you picked up that deep into your head coaching career you can take into?
I think each year's a different experience. Mike's had 2 good seasons. Both, last year getting the playoffs, and I think the year before, did they? Or are they 1 game short of the year before?
Oh, they made the playoffs.
Yeah, they made it both years. So, doing that's a hell of a job by Mike. I know they're trying to get their quarterback situated, and they have a hell of a team. I know they change coaches, so it's just putting it together each year and trying to have the best team you can with whatever situation you're in.
Hey, Coach, this time last year, we were talking a lot about Brock potentially taking his next step through pocket presence and that kind of stuff. What is the next step for him this offseason? Is it more cerebral this time around?
No, it'll just be getting more consistent on everything. When you have a whole season to review yourself, last year he had 7 games. When you get a whole season, there's so much tape to go over. That takes a long time to get through. And you always want to be perfect, and no one ever will be. But when you have the reps that he's had, now he can review that stuff and take it to the field. And I mean, when we get back on April 15th together, we'll watch. We'll do all quick game. We'll do all 5 steps, all 7 steps. We'll do the play actions. We'll do the movement, and that stuff that Greasy and Kubiak will be taking him on the field and working at every day.
Kyle, twice in the last week, Rich McKay has mentioned that league-wide scoring has been down for a couple of years, and he's mentioned as one possibility the increase of too high safety loads. Is that something as a play caller you've seen a lot more in the last 2 years?
Yeah, I'd say so. A little bit more two-shell than in the past, but that could be. I think defenses are. I think they're less aggressive than they used to be. I think they're a little smarter in that way. There's not as, it's a little bit more bend but don't break. There's so many different ways offenses can attack defenses now that I think guys can't take as much risk with all the jet sweeps and all that stuff, with zone pressures and everything. You got to be able to do it for so many different formations now and motions. I think it's tougher. So guys play a little bit more conservative, which to me in the long run leads to less scoring.
And harder to create chunk plays and things like that?
Yeah, definitely. The less aggressive they are, the harder it is to get explosives.
You guys bring back your entire offensive line. How much does that continuity lead you to believe that the line will be better from day one and continue to grow?
Yeah, I think the more O-line play together, the better they get. I mean, I think it's the one position on the field with 5 guys. You really got to work a lot from the practice and off-season OTAs to training camp throughout the year. You watch an O-line, usually in the last half of the year compared to the first, it's usually get better and stay healthy. And we've been able to do that for the most part, and decided to get our group back. And hopefully we'll always keep looking to add, improving the draft and things like that, get some more competition in there. But been real happy with our group.
And what about you guys signed McKivitz to the extension? Why did you decide that he's part of this long-term thing?
He's done a hell of a job at right tackle for us. I mean, he's done that now for. Just did it all for this year. We had a lot of confidence in him going into this year. He's the exact type of guy we want. I think he's one of the real leaders on our team. And I thought he did a hell of a job playing this year.
At this point last year, how confident were you that Feliciano would fit the system as well as he ended up fitting it?
I didn't know really, because I didn't always know how much of the scheme that he would be until he got with us. He had to change his style a little bit, get used to kind of how we do it. It didn't jump off right away, but by the time we get into training camp, we could tell we had a real good player. And once he got out there on the field and the way he was in games on Sundays and stuff, the way he reacted in the huddle, the way the guys kind of gravitated to him, you could tell football wasn't too big for him. He almost could figure anything out.
Did you have any issues with how things happened after the Super Bowl with him and Burford?
I mean, yeah, you'd rather not see that happen, but I don't think the intent was how it came off. And he's a hell of a dude, and both of those guys are, and I think we got a close group in that room.
Coach, I know you had a limited amount of time with Chase Young, but how fast would you say that acclimate to the system in San Francisco?
Chase did a good job for us. I mean, it was different. We were asking him to get him the 3-point as opposed to standing up. We played a little bit different style, how we set the edge and stuff. But from day one, Chase practiced his tail off, worked hard for us, and I thought he adapted fast.
What stood out most about his game while he was in San Francisco?
Just his size. I mean, just seeing him in person, his power and strength off the edge is one of his best.
Thank you.
A year ago at the meetings, you correctly said that D'Amico Ryans would have a immediate impact as a leader. It's hard to predict those. What did you think of D'Amico and what he did this year?
I mean, I think D'Amico, just for all you guys that know him, I think it was pretty predictable. I mean, D'Amico's been great at everything he's ever done. Carries himself real well, knows football very well. Is a very good leader, and I don't think that surprised anybody. Once he got the quarterback, it's going to be hard for D'Amico not to be successful.
Sounds like John told us yesterday how much you guys want to keep Brandon around. You guys have talked about that for over a year now. How much you want to keep him on. When you think about the future of the team, and for Brock especially, how important is it to have someone that has good chemistry with Brock, good rapport with Brock, that they can kind of keep elevating each other?
It's huge. I mean, it's hard to be a successful quarterback if you don't have real good receivers. So it starts there with Brandon, and I think that's real big for Brock in his future, making sure we got a good group for him going forward.
Did you talk to Brandon at all about maybe what's going on? I know you're not involved with all that potential, but
Not anything specific. I mean, I've seen Brandon a couple times here. Actually ran into him in Cabo last week. He was randomly at our hotel. I don't think he wanted to be, but and I've seen him in the office a couple times. But he's doing good. Hopefully, we'll get this done sooner than later.
How do you steer clear of, it seems like this time of year with these guys, there's a lot of anxiety and maybe not the most smooth thing going on with the negotiators. How do you kind of remove yourself from that and just maintain that relationship with the guy you've been around for years?
I try to do exactly that, remove myself from it. I've been through it enough that it's a very sensitive time because it's so much the player and his family, it's so much the team, what they got to go through just trying to build a team. So I've watched it happen with Trent, I've watched it with Debo, George, Fred, all these guys. So you just got to be patient, you got to let it play itself out, not get involved. And usually when you're in a situation like we are, where you got a real good player who wants to be here, and we want the player to be here extremely bad too. What I found with us is it doesn't always happen right away, but it's a matter of time that it's working out.
And does your relationship with Brandon, does it suffer, or does it get strained at all during this time?
It hasn't so far. I've seen him a couple of times, and we've been good, so I don't expect it to. I mean, I think Brandon understands the situation, and I know I do, and I'm excited to get back here playing for us.
Do you think the fact that you guys have been able to get successful sessions with your key players, that it helps the next guy up understanding how patience?
I would hope so. I mean, I think we've proven that we try real hard to get our own guys signed. Almost every situation we try to do it that way, so I think he trusts that, and I think it does help the guys see that.
How important was it for Kyle to do what he did?
That was huge. I mean, it was Kyle's a big part of this team. He has been since we got here, and we would have hated to lose him. So for Kyle to do that was great for us, great for him to be able to stay with us, and I'm really happy he decided to do that.
Yesterday, John mentioned that your experience with Devondre Campbell goes back to Atlanta. I guess that was his rookie year in 2016. Was there anything that kind of jumped out to you that made you a big fan of his going back to then?
Yeah, just how him and Deion Jones, both their rookie years, for them to come in and be rookies for the whole year and play that entire year for our two linebackers. I mean, that puts so much pressure on our defense on linebackers, the way our scheme is, and for him to do it at such a young age right away on some big stages, I was always real impressed with him early on, and I've been even more impressed with him going against him over the years, wherever it's been, especially here in Green Bay the last three.
You could have, obviously you did not, but I mean, you could have lost to the Packers or Lions in the playoffs. And I think the conversation on this team would be much different if it happened. But I mean, did that cause you to in any way look at this and say, are we as good as we think we are, or just reassess where you are as a team, if this makes sense?
The two playoff games?
Yeah.
Every game makes me feel do that. So those weren't any different. I mean, I knew those were going to be hard games going in. That's why the league's pretty cool to me, and the fact that there is never a 7-game series. Anything can happen in any game, whether you're the best team or the 32nd best team. There's not much. There's not much difference in the top and bottom. So it's always very close. Those games can go any way, and I was just proud of our team and how we persevered through some tough situations in those games and found a way to win.
On paper, do you think you guys are a better team right now?
I don't know. I don't go on paper, so I'll have to see them in practice.
And off paper, do you think you're a better team?
I'd have to see them. We'll practice, we get our team together, and those are the opinions you start to develop in OTs and training camp. And hopefully we'll improve it here in the draft a lot. I'm real excited about that. It's the most picks we've had in a while, especially getting back in the first and second round, which we haven't had the last couple of years, or the first round. So I think we'll have a chance to be better.
Two kind of specialty positions. I don't see an answer for whatever. Can you tell me what you guys are thinking as far as nickel back and return man?
I mean, the guy who played nickel for us last year still on our team, in Demo, so he's always an option. We got guys that we're still trying to train there that are on the team. Love bringing in Isaac to allow that possibly Demo to stay inside and him go outside. I think our young guys and Ambry and Sammy got a lot better last year, and I also think we have plenty of picks in the draft.
What do you think of the
return man?
I thought Ronnie Bell showed that he was capable of doing it. And I would like him to compete and get better at it. And we'll see what happens here in the draft. But definitely have someone back there before we start.
What do you think of the proposed new kickoff?
I think it's interesting. I don't think anyone totally knows because, when you put guys in different spots they've never been put in before, there's just different timing and how it's going to play out. And so I think we'll all find out about it, but I think it'll be fun to watch. But your guess is going to be as good as mine. We're all going to have to figure it out as we go. And I think that'll be a fun thing in the league, but I think it's going to be a different thing each week.
You mentioned being back in the first round this year. Does it feel different at all? I mean, does it have to change even how much work you put in and looking at draft guys and things like that?
Yeah. I mean, it's good. It'll be more fun. I mean, it's pretty miserable not having a first round pick, just sitting there and watching and have nothing to do that day. But yeah, I mean, we knew we weren't going to have one the last few years, so we haven't looked as much in those top picks. But we'll be prepared for everybody this year. Never know whether we stay where we're at or we move around, but when you're at that situation, when you're at pick 31, you got to be ready for anything.
You guys have obviously had success regardless of not having those picks. But have you felt that in any way in terms of just your roster building of like, hey, we don't have the cost certainty of a rookie who's playing at a high level or anything like that over the last few years?
Not really. Before we did that, we felt pretty good about where our team was. We thought we could do it. We knew it was risky, but we thought our team was at. We didn't absolutely have to have those picks, and I think it's worked out well.
Kyle, there's been a lot of talk in recent years about running backs being devalued. Obviously, not with you guys. Christian's highly paid. Is he an outlier? Do you see that trend maybe just being cyclical? And you got Barkley maybe got paid now. How do you kind of look at last year the running backs at a podcast saying they couldn't be paid? How do you look at that overall situation?
I think it is unfortunate. Because running backs are extremely important. One of the most important positions on the field. So there's a number of guys who can do it, but there's also very few guys who can do it like our guy. So you got to look into all that stuff. Christian is a little bit of an anomaly, just in how good he is as a receiver, how good he is as a running back, how good he is as a blocker. He does everything, and he does it every week. So I think a lot of people would want that.
This is a pretty big overhaul of your defensive line. What was Chris's initial reaction to his new group of talent there?
I think it was really hard to say bye to Eric. That was tough, but I think when it was all said and done, I think he was pumped. We had a lot of one-year guys, so we knew we were going to have to do something, trying to get our own guys back or trying to get new guys. And it's stressful when you go through all that because guys make deals and they make commitments other places, and you can lose people. But when it was all said and done, we thought we had a good group, and Chris was really excited about the guys.
A guy like Jordan Elliott was a starter on a pretty good Cleveland line, and we got him probably to be a rotational piece. How big of a pickup is something like that kind of might be?
Real big. Especially the size he plays with. Just trying to balance out our guys, and you don't want all the same body types. And what we got with Malik, what we got with Jordan, you got a few different sizes there, and the style of the play that can add good to the group because we like to play 8 to 9 guys every week.
And looking at the film, totality of the last season, there anything you could specifically point to with the run defense that caused it to take a step down last year?
I can't say anything specifically, but you can feel it right away. We obviously got beat on some crack tosses a little too much, and once that did happen, it didn't stop. We got more ran on us last year than I've ever seen in my career, and that's kind of what happens. If you don't stop that bleeding right away, people keep attacking it, and I think that made it a bigger challenge for us, and something we got to get better at.
Kyle, wondering if you could speak to the job that Brian Greasy has done as quarterbacks coach, coming out of the broadcast booth, and what he's done the last week.
Yeah, Brian's been great. Anytime you get into coaching late, it's always a huge challenge, but Brian, as I've always said, one of the smartest guys I've been around, works extremely hard. He's really taken a knack and enjoyed the relationship with the players. I know the guys have loved him, and he just keeps getting better and better.
What did you see from Josh Dobbs that made you want him?
I thought he was real tough to play against, especially in Arizona. The way he ran their scheme, I thought he made them a tough team to beat. I loved how consistent he was. You could tell that whatever their game plan was, he executed extremely well. I loved how competitive he was when he ran, how physically he played, trying to break tackles and things like that. And I felt he gave their team a good chance to win.
Have you talked rocket science with him at all?
No, I haven't. I won't be able to take too long with that.
How important is it for you to get Jordan Hines back into defense?
Oh, huge. I love Juwan and another guy playing on hopefully be around here for a long time.
How much has his play developed since you got him as a rookie?
It has a lot, but I mean, Juwan's always been a baller. Like, you watch his college tape, just the way he plays. Like, Juwan's always been this way. He's a gamer, plays so physically. I think he's only got more and more physical each year. The style of how he plays, how big he is. I think people sleep on him a little bit and don't realize how big and physical he is until they get him on game day and catches a lot of guys off guard.
When you see his mentally,
I think it's huge. I mean, Juwan only plays one way. That's why all the defensive guys want to fight him in training camp, and I try to show them. I have to show the defensive guys his game film so they realize he's not just being a jerk out there. He actually only plays that way. It's his style. He plays to the whistle, and the mentality he has when he does it is pretty unique. Just continuing to grow in every aspect of his game. His whole route tree, everything, and but Juwan's done everything I've asked, and I feel very fortunate to coach him.
What's your comfort level with what you have at safety? What's your comfort level with what you have at safety right now? Would you like to keep adding there?
Oh yeah, we'd like to add, but I also am real comfortable with how good Jair played last year. I mean, everyone knows what Huff's done, so it's always scary coming back from an ACL. But once you come back in this day and age, it's pretty good. It's usually okay. Expect to get him sometime in training camp, so that should be all right. And getting George Odom, I think he's probably the best special teams player in the league, and also can play safety well too. So we'll see how it goes in the draft.
Jets signed Kim Law in free agency. Can you talk about his growth as a player?
Yeah, I was so happy for John this year. I mean, this was really his first year that he fully got to play. I hated to lose him, but I can see why the Jets went and paid him. His tape was good this year. His first year was able to really practice throughout the year and really kind of found his niche on how to do it. And I'm a big fan of Javon, and you guys got to help him player.
That's good.
When you, a guy like Blackman, I assume he's not coming to visit you thinking he's going to be a backup. I mean, talking about you like your safeties, but those guys, it's fair to say they're not guaranteed anything?
No one's guaranteed anything, but also we didn't bring Blackman talking about him coming in for sure starting. We talked about him coming in to compete, and it was a visit he took, and we'll see how that works out. But I mean, it's a safety position similar to all our positions. We got guys competing for those spots, and we also got Huffles coming off injury, so I'm not exactly sure when he will be.
Did Daniel Wallace get injured during the Super Bowl?
Yeah. Big Achilles about 5 minutes after Dre's. I think it was when Jair got the interception. He just jumped up and cheered, very similar to Dre's, and his Achilles went too.
And he stayed on the side.
Yeah. I didn't know until the next morning, to tell you the truth, because he just thought he hurt his ankle, but by the time the game was over, he barely could walk.
It's so freaking bizarre.
I know.
How does that, like,
I don't know. It's
any
crazy.
science?
Nothing I want to get into.
I think I understand.
Yeah. So, I'm frustrated.
And he's had surgery and he's
Yeah.
on the road
Yeah.
recovery.
Yeah.
He's on the same timetable.
Yeah, he is. It was funny. The next morning, I woke up early, and my wife was telling me how Bullock tore his Achilles, and I was like, "No, it was Greenlaw." And I got in the biggest argument with her. And then Bullock got on the bus in a boot, and I'm like, and she's like, "Told you." But yeah, I didn't know.
Is that why she was there last night and you weren't?
No, I was around.
All right,
She was in
guys.
charge.
Appreciate it.
All right,
All right, see you guys.